Everybody, drop your buffs.
Drop your buffs.
Everybody, drop your buffs.
Drop your buffs.
Everybody, drop your buffs.
My eyes rolled this way and all the way back.
Sandra, do you want some watermelon?
That's what I refer to as bumping uglies.
Oh my gosh, guys!
Why is yours so small?
It felt like he was just taking just words out of his butt. Hello everyone, welcome to Drop Your Buffs podcast, where we recap the strategy, social game, and stupidity of each Survivor episode. And Djon, there was all types of stupidity, strategy, and social game this episode. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and I'm glad to be here with Hannah Fleming, the recipient of the Ohio Tennis Coaches Association 2008 Golden Racket Award, which is emblematic of excellence in both tennis and academics. Well done, Hannah. Well done.
I am flabbergasted right now. How did you find my high school tennis record?
The internet is an amazing thing. What can I say? What can I say?
Okay, I need to hire someone to find stuff about you.
Why hire someone when you can do it yourself? It's kind of fun. I feel like
I honestly thought you would run out of stuff. I honestly thought there can't be anything else he can find about me.
I will admit, 5 minutes before we were recording this, I forgot to get something, and it took all of 5 minutes. All of 5 minutes. So
this bit can be over anytime. Okay. So, let's jump in. We don't have any rapid fire questions today, but I do have one big question that we asked Des, our guest, last week, and I wanted to ask you the same question because I really enjoyed this question. I wanted to ask you, Djon, is there a Survivor player that you relate to the most, personality-wise or game-wise? What player are you the most like? Now, obviously, I've had more time to think about it because I was thinking about it.
Right.
And I would say I probably relate to Kellen from Ghost Island the most. Just this, comes off as this sweet girl, but then has this game side that wants to play a good Survivor game. And I would also mix that with Aubrey. Everybody loves the quirky, nerdy Aubrey, and I feel like I have that side, whether I do or not.
Yeah. I mean, the fan in me wants to say Suri, because from first impressions, you're not going to assume that what I embody in terms of game is going to come from what I have, the book by its cover situation.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of gameplay and social dynamics and stuff like that, I feel like the closest representation I saw was when I was of an age that I really was getting into Survivor, and that was Survivor China. And I really liked Todd's social game.
Mm.
I feel like he was able to relate to every individual that was playing the game with him. And he was a bit of comic entertainment at times, but he still was able to kind of break it down and be all right, game talk, let's be real. So someone like him who was smaller and, you wouldn't see them coming and
super likable.
Right. It was one. Yeah, I'm super likable. I feel so obnoxious saying that. But I just kind of do feel like there is some similarities in the sense of how he conducted himself and how I conducted myself in Survival Challenge, and how I probably would conduct myself in the real game on CBS.
Yes, I was trying to think of who I thought for you, and I honestly couldn't think of anyone because there are so many wonderful aspects to you, so I couldn't pick just one Survivor. Okay, let's get going to talk about this episode.
Yes.
I feel like there's so much big stuff as we go, and so I want to just say, feel free to we can bunker down on one topic and just do a deep dive on something. Let's have fun talking about this episode because this was a crazy one.
It was a very crazy episode, and I think it kind of stands alone compared to the first 3 episodes of this season. I feel like we're in that next chapter of the game.
We are, and I'm just going to start right off the bat by saying R.I.P. Chelsea. I am mourning this vote out. I still cannot believe this vote out. And I just have been racking my brain trying to wrap my mind around what happened, what went wrong, and was this a good move for other people?
I am flawed. To me, like literally when it happened, I kind of just turned around and said, well, so much for a winner's edit. We saw so much of Chelsea over the first 4 episodes. She was finding idols. She was one of the first people to be talking about the island of idols. She really was quite a people knew who Chelsea was, whether they knew her name or not. If you referred to the girl in the pink shorts, everybody knew who she was. It was
Right.
one of those situations that we don't often get a younger female character in these shows that is as enticing as Chelsea was. And I think it's a real shame that she got cut out of here so soon. Somebody that I compared her to was, well, obviously getting into that idea of a showmance that was touched upon in this episode, which is a good, possibility. That's the reason she left. Someone like Figgy, who was,
Oh,
put into
yes.
a showmance. And though we didn't necessarily have the edit for her of being this like strong game player, she definitely fell into that trap of you're part of a two. We need to get rid of one of you. It just happens to be you. So I'm seeing a little bit of a Figgy 2.0 in this situation.
I totally agree. I feel that like Figgy had all that potential, just like Chelsea had all that potential. Oh, okay. So like as we're talking, I might just start crying randomly, just
That's
missing
fine.
Chelsea already.
I'll serenade you with my song.
Okay, we start the episode with a fever dream again.
Fever
This
dream. Pow, pow, pow.
Ooh, this fever dream was not as yeah, I don't even remember what the scenes were. Did it accomplish anything?
I look, I watched the episode again the second time, and I had to watch intently just to make sure that I got all 3 of them, because the first time I was like, wait, was that clip of Elizabeth the first part of the fever dream, or what was that?
Yeah.
So literally it was, I would say, a 1/10 of a second of Elizabeth like wiping away tears. Then there was the clip of the what was the second one? Because I know the third one was looking at a clue and saying like, oh,
I know what the second one was.
was that they're too close? Like pretty much
It was
the
Dean and
spooning.
Chelsea spooning. Yep.
They couldn't get closer. That's what I refer to as bumping uglies. So, like, can you imagine, like, you're watching from home, you're sitting around with your family, and the footage in the fever dream is just you and somebody else, just your crutches, just, like, banging together for 1 split second. Like, that's the fever dream. And that's the way you start the episode, and you look at your family and you're like, just wait, it makes sense.
Dion, if there was footage from us night 1 of Survival Challenge, when there's 6 of us all just stacked like sardines under a tarp, just trying to stay warm. I don't know if my mom would be proud of me in that moment.
I mean, I'm proud of you for dealing with it, especially after saying that you're not a touchy-feely person. You did what you had to do to stay warm. Well done.
Yes, we survived. Okay, so those were the fever dreams. It was all right. It was fine. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's only like probably like 5 seconds long, or even probably less than that. It was probably 3 seconds long, and we go straight to the episode. So you know what? I'm here for it.
Well, I just quickly to go back to like the whole fever dream thing, is the fact that those 3 clips were supposedly the 3 most enticing parts of this episode, is that quite telling of how the whole episode was perceived? Because for me, it wasn't the strongest episode, and I came into recording this podcast going, you know what? I'm interested to see if we have as much to talk about this week.
I know. I would say the big thing of this episode is Noura going to the island.
No.
That has to be, that's what this part, and I'm going to say I loved every second of Noura going to the island.
Why are we always differing when it comes to Noura?
Like, you didn't like it?
I was disappointed because I like Noura so much, and I feel like she didn't utilize this experience at all. What I learned about Noura in this episode is she's the type of person that will finish your sentences, and a lot of the time finish them wrong. And those kinds of people really bug me. So.
Oh my gosh. So I would. Yeah. So okay, let's just skip to that part because I just want to talk about everything about Noura going to the island.
Let's do
So
it.
I loved the edit that they put of when the boat comes and they're picking a person for IOI, which
Mm-hmm.
IOI stands for
IOI. I love it.
stands for Island of the Idols, IOI. Okay.
Yes.
We hear from several people about why they aren't going to speak up and say that they will nominate themselves. We hear
Mm-hmm.
Jamal say it. We hear
Yep.
Lauren say it. We
Mm-hmm.
hear Jason say it. We
Yes.
hear Tommy say it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All of them say, no, no one in their right mind would nominate themselves. And then we cut immediately to Nora going, oh, I'll go. And then it
Yep.
goes right to her in the boat going, I was dying. I loved it so much.
Well, okay, so I had a very different experience. Like for me, it was like I can see the comic turn of events, how everybody's just kind of like playing it out like, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way. And then she's like, I'll go. But for me watching it, I was like, wait, what did I just miss? You know, she said I'll go, and now she's on a boat and she's there.
I know.
Did we see anybody try to convince her not to go because there's the potential of her getting an idol and she's their option to go to tribal council? Like I was just left with so many questions.
I think what the edit shows is that no one protested and everybody was like, okay, go ahead. I think that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you can assume. But for me, I kind of wanted to see that. I wanted to see the people looking at each other going, do we let her go? Because if one person said no, it had to be a unanimous vote. Otherwise, they chose from a bag.
What would you do in that situation? Would you be like the Kelly and be like, why draw out of a bag? That's a
Mhm.
cop out. Or would you be like, let's all draw from a bag?
Well,
I agree with everybody's decision to not speak up because that puts a target on you. We heard Tommy
yeah.
say, my goal is to make my target as small as possible.
True, that's very true. But I also, as a like, obviously they've got a tight alliance of people.
Hmm.
I think it was a mistake letting her go to the Island of Idols, and that's the opportunity. This might be a terrible idea. But if I saw somebody who was my choice of going home at the next tribal council, put their hand up to go to the Island of Idols, where I assume they're going to come back with an idol, if I was in a tight enough alliance, I might say to my group, you know what, I'm also willing to go because if it means that you guys don't want to go, and I know that, maybe Nora, you're just putting your hand up because you want to, be that person that make sure that nobody else has to go. I'll put my hand up too. I don't mind. And then that way you get to strengthen your alliance.
You get an idol. You get an idol for your alliance. You make
Yeah,
sure someone who's on the
the
ballot
outs.
for on the outs doesn't have an idol. You are pretty right, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risky move, but someone like Tommy could have done that. I mean, even Janet could have done that. I just think it was a mistake letting her go. Obviously, it didn't have that kind of fallout anyway.
So this whole thing happens with Nora,
Uh,
okay? All of the things. She comes back. She comes up with this really ridiculous lie that no one believes.
it was terrible. It was so bad that we have to talk about the lie because she comes back and not only is she trying to convince people to do what she wants, she's also telling them that it's an already done deal decision. She's like, no, you guys already said that I'm going to do that role, so you can't. Sweetie, they didn't ask you what is possible. They said, what are the details? And and she just had this really obnoxious way of being like, I need to get my way in order for you to get whatever you want.
And they can read right through her. No one was believing that for a second.
No,
Okay,
absolutely not.
so,
Oh,
Dion, I want to do some improv right now.
oh
So let's
God.
say I have an idea already, so because I thought about this. So
Sure.
okay, so let's improv. What would you say if you were Nora coming back from IOI?
Hmm.
How would you persuade them to make you the caller?
Okay, I think the problem from the get-go is she turned it into a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The way you do it is by making it as little of a thing as possible.
All right.
So I would not have told them what the challenge is, first of all, but I would have like dropped little seeds throughout the rest of the time before the challenge of hey, you know what? I mean, the only good thing that I'd be good at is, like in one of those challenges where, if you have to like call out or, obviously that's a little on the nose. But if there's like certain things where you're like, my aspect of my strength in challenges is my ability to communicate with people. I'm really not good at, the physicality and stuff like that. I mean, if you're going to get me to crawl around and, do stuff, I'm going to be a mess. But like my ability to kind of manage people is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like that was her mistake. She didn't let it kind of come across as a strength. She just kind of bulldozed that there is this thing that she decided she wants to do, and it may not actually be the best responsibility.
So you would try to like, you would not even mention anything about the challenge. You would just like try to plant the seeds to
Correct.
eventually be the caller.
I think her mistake was telling them what the challenge was because she gave them all the information they needed to do it without her. And that's what we saw.
Okay, here's
Go
what I
for
would
it.
do. Here's what I thought of. Okay, so I come back from the IOI. Guys, I got us a challenge advantage. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, guys. I got to look at a puzzle that we are going to do during the next challenge. Yeah, I won the game. And so I got us a challenge advantage. I got to look at the puzzle. I had like 10 minutes. I got to look at the puzzle, but it's a blindfold challenge. So the hard part is that either like I can be the caller because I already know what it looks like, or I can try to describe the puzzle to someone so that they know what it looks like.
Sure.
But then when I do describe the puzzle, I do like, well, there's like this notch and it's like a circle. Let me just try to draw it in the sand and I would just fail at it. So that's my game plan.
So my question is this: did she know that there was a puzzle? Because all we heard is that there was a caller involved. Because he said there's a caller and there are blindfolded people.
Okay, so I did get to watch it again, her whole lie for the second time. And I'm pretty sure that what she told them is that that there's a blindfold challenge. You go get the pieces to puzzle, bring them back, and then we put it together.
Okay. So, because I mean, assuming like with every blindfolded challenge we've seen, they always are retrieving something. And be it that the most recent seasons, it always comes down to puzzles. I mean, every single challenge we see now has that physical element and also that, that brains element of putting together a puzzle. So we can assume that much. But so if you're putting a puzzle together, like, would you just kind of like make up what this puzzle looks like? You don't know if it's a hanging puzzle. You don't know if it's a slide puzzle. Like,
yeah.
how are you?
I would have to make up the puzzle. I would have to make up the puzzle and, gosh, hope I was right.
Right, because I was going to say, what happens when they find out what the puzzle is and they turn around and they say, that's nothing like what you said it would look like, getting caught out on a lie.
Djon, you're ruining my plan.
I'm just trying to make your plan. Well, here's the thing. If you said the same thing, guys, I found out about the next challenge, and it's going to be one of those challenges where it's like a blindfold challenge, but I saw the course. So I know
there we go.
the directions for everybody to go.
And you can't really describe that, yeah.
I can't. I'm like, there was this whole thing here, but they told me the quickest routes. So if you want me to lead, I can do that for you because I already know the quickest routes. So when it comes back, I'll be able to help whoever's going to put the puzzle together because we're going to get there so much quicker.
And you know what? Okay, yes, that is the perfect plan. Between the two of us, we came up with the perfect plan.
We did it.
And you know what, though? At the end of the day, it's Noura. Were they ever going to let Noura be the caller?
I mean, I honestly think they just let her go to the Island of Idols so they didn't have to deal with her for a good few hours.
Wow, you're finally on my side. You're finally on my side that Noura is...
I didn't say that I would be happy to... I mean, look, everybody can deal with some time away from certain people. But I'm just saying that might have been their mentality, where they're like, what's the chances of her getting an idol? She's Noura. Like, I think that's what it comes down to. Like, she's Noura, which is quite unfortunate, but that's just the case when it comes to this wonderful lady.
Boston Rob called it Noura World, that she lives in Noura World, and this is Survivor World. I need to know everything that's going on in Noura World. I feel like Everyone laughs like Noura in Noura World. Ha ha!
That laugh
That
is
laugh.
deafening and
Everybody,
also like kind of terrifying. There's something very unsettling about it where she laughs and you look at her to be like, are you okay? And then you realize, oh no, you're enjoying yourself.
yeah, and her eyes are crazy eyes, like in
She's
normal conversations.
okay. Can we also discuss how she gets to the island and she sees Boston Rob and Sandra walk out? So this is like my opposite to a drop your buff moment. This is like my most underwhelming moment of the episode, where she sees them and walks up to them just with this regular deflated smile, like, "Oh, hi." And he introduces himself. I'm Rob. She goes, "I know who you are." And you're
Do
like,
you? Do
that's
you, Noura?
one, do you? And second, is that the reaction we get? Cut two, would you like some watermelon? Ah! Like, what? You're meeting two different people from the people you've been living with this whole time, which you've expressed infuriate you. And that's your response to two people. Maybe she was going in at like 50% in order to like keep them close so they don't get scared off too quickly. But I was shocked that that was the response we got from her when she was seeing Boston Rob and Sandra.
I haven't seen someone get that excited for watermelon since Big Brother 21, Mickey Jackson.
Yes.
Oh, I said Mickey
Mickey?
Jackson. Jackson Mickey.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, I was gonna say because I was like, wait, which way was it around? Of course, yes, Jack and that's the thing. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, he really liked his watermelons, and she clearly likes her watermelons too. Maybe we can do some kind of like CBS crossover where they just like sit and eat watermelon. I'd watch.
That would be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, they call it, like, instead of the water cooler, it'll be the watermelon, and they just talk about stuff while eating watermelon. What do you think?
Oh. Well, I mean, Jackson's in Jackson World, Nora's in Noura World.
Whoa, watching those two worlds collide. That's a lot.
Oh, that would be awesome. Okay, let's go to my drop your buff moment that happens
Please.
pretty soon. Is when it's time for the challenge. Here it comes. Nora's gonna be the caller. She's done her persuasion. She's laid the seed. She's going to be the. Oh, no.
No.
Lauren goes, Nora's sitting out. And they all look at Lauren.
But no.
What?
Lauren says she slowly turns her shoulders, whips her head around, and says, "Nora's sitting now."
Look
It was
straight.
the
Oh.
most pointed way of sitting out a member of your tribe that I have ever seen in my history of watching Survivor. I can't recall a time that we've seen somebody be sat out by their tribe in such a dismissive way.
I have totally had that face that Lauren has as a teacher. That whole the eyebrows are raised, the eyes are big. You're not smiling. You're just kind of like you're sitting out. Like it's when I like have to like make a kid like stop playing at recess because they're breaking a rule. Like no, you're sitting out.
And then you're that kid who never gets in trouble, who raises their eyebrows, looks in really inquisitively and says, "Wait,
Me?
sorry, what?" Which is exactly what Nora did.
Oh, she was like, wait, not only did I not get to be the caller, but I'm not even in the challenge? Oh, that's
No.
that's a complete fail.
It was, but here, okay. So what I think her biggest mistake was by calling out that she was going to be the caller. She had the ability to prove against herself why she shouldn't be in that role. So that's why I don't necessarily think it was a good move
Ugh.
telling them what the challenge was in advance.
No, yeah, I just like I knew it was going to be good TV, but I knew that she was not going to do well, and Boston Rob and Sandra knew that she was not going to do well.
And I like there was that moment of Sandra looking out at her, going like, we're rooting for you. And I was waiting for her to just be under her breath, going, she's got no shot. Like I was waiting for it, and we didn't get it.
Oh, but we knew she was thinking it.
I mean, if she wasn't thinking it, Boss and Rob definitely was. I think they were both extremely polite when it came to talking about Noura and her time at Island of Idols. But I think that we saw a lot of the Island of Idols, but we didn't get much. It was just a big chunk of time of dealing with this bad energy, this kind of like pulsating thing of like, when is this going to be a moment of clarity? When is this going to be a moment of learning something new, having some morals come into play? And all we had was her be like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm totally doing it. Yeah, there's no way that I'm not going to do it. And you're like, wow, this is a wasted experience. Like, that's what it felt like to me. I would love to highlight the clips that we did see. We saw clips from Fans vs. Favorites, season 16, and we saw clips from Cook Islands, season 13. Both seasons that Parvati played in. And Parvati is that player. That's how she plays. She plays to people's egos, you know. She tries to entice them in, and you know, she said it herself, you know, she gets what she wants. That's what she does. She will flirt with anybody, and not even in a seductive way of like trying to, like, you know, get them to do something that isn't, you know, well, it's not seductive. It's enticing them to do something that's in her best interest by convincing them it's what they want and it's in their best interest.
And at the same time, she has amazing self-awareness and really good perception of what's going on.
And so it was very interesting to me that we saw, you know, that Fans versus Favorites move, where we saw people like Suri and even Natalie, you know, having these really in-depth conversations with Eric, who, the poor boy, was just so eager to please. And he'd been mentally broken down to believe that there was no way that he was going to be admired at the end for the game he was playing if he was just winning his way to the end. And we know from future seasons that that's not the case at all. You can win your way to the end and people can admire it for you because you never gave anybody opportunity to get rid of you, you know?
Yep.
And so unfortunately he got the raw end of that, and Noura wasn't able to kind of be that person.
No, so like all of these amazing moments were why I watch Survivor, why I love Survivor, is the manipulation, the social strategy. All of these amazing moves showed, oh my gosh, I love Survivor. And then we immediately go to Noura crashing and burning and completely failing at it. And it just broke my heart. I'm like, this is great TV, but this is not why I love Survivor.
Okay, my other question is, would she have played so hard if it was an idol that she would be receiving? Because my whole thing was she was just getting an advantage. This wasn't for an idol. She also loses her vote. So she definitely had something on the line, but we don't know what she was going to gain. We don't know if that was going to be an advantage in a challenge, if it was going to be a clue to a hidden immunity idol. We don't know if it was going to be awarding somebody else on the other tribe an extra vote. Like, we've seen different things play out over the seasons. It could have been an idol nullifier for all we know. But it's kind of like, it's weird. I'm like, why after 3 episodes does this person not get the opportunity to play for an idol? You know, in my brain, I'm still stuck on this island of idols being about idols, even though we know now that the idols are Sandra and Boss Rob. But I'm still fixated on this idea of an idol. I'm disappointed she didn't get a chance to play for an actual idol.
And also, like, along with that, so she just like agrees to it right away. You know, she doesn't even know if it's an idol or she knows it's something. And she just goes, oh yeah, I'll do it. And like Sandra and Rob are like, you know,
slow down, think about it.
Yeah, like she didn't take a moment, and I think it was Sandra who said that's gonna bite her in this game, because you have to take a moment and think. And
we all know from what we've seen of her that that's not her play.
that's Noura World. No. Noura World, there's no stopping and thinking.
So I also have a question for you. We saw this challenge. This is a challenge that we've seen in many different combinations over the seasons. You know, we've seen it from early seasons going back as far as, you know, even All Stars. We saw it in, you know, this Australia. We saw it in Australian Outback. We saw it in Tocantins. We see this season, this format constantly. Did we just see this game get beat? Did the contestants just beat this by getting themselves in a line, all going out there at once? Are we going to be able to play this style of challenge again and not have it played out with 2 tribes or 3 tribes, just sending them all out there together in a line? Like, did they just beat this challenge?
That was genius. That was I thought that that was a great idea. Send them all
Yeah.
out at once and then they have to spread out. So, I mean, now that we've seen it happen, I mean, you would imagine that every tribe will do that. Does it break the challenge to a point where like they can't do it anymore because everybody will do amazing at it? Like, no, it's still going to be hard. It's still, people's groins are still going to get hit.
That's true. That's poor Tommy. But I don't know, like, because for me, it was just kind of like, it almost took the fun out of it. And I feel like the fun is trying to communicate with 6 different people where they only had to communicate with one.
Well, one for a bit, but then they had to, didn't they still have to spread out to the different water things that they pull the string?
Sure, but you get all the 6 of them to stop at one station, you send 2 in, you get them back into the line. You send all 6 of them to the next station, you send 2 of them out, you get back into the line. It really was just kind of like a regular challenge, except they were blindfolded.
I know.
So for me personally, I was a little underwhelmed with the challenge because we didn't see 2 tribes struggling. We saw 1 tribe struggling. Until we got to the end. And I was shocked that we had Elizabeth directing Aaron in the puzzle.
Yeah, that was quite the matchup.
Well, here was what I was thinking. I was like, is this showing us that Elizabeth has a good relationship with Aaron that we haven't seen yet? You know, obviously we saw Elizabeth walk off with Aaron later on saying, you know, Elaine's not in for the vote, putting all the blame on her, which I thought was a great move, by the way.
Yes.
But did we also see Aaron put his hand up saying, well, look, Karishma and Dean clearly aren't good with puzzles. I'll do it, knowing very well that if he does poorly at the puzzle, he wasn't the eyes.
Yeah.
He was just the hands.
Yeah.
So I think this is his way of being a hero, but still kind of being able to place the blame on somebody else.
Yeah, that's a really good idea because Elizabeth is like the mecca of that challenge. Does that make sense? Is that a phrase?
Absolutely. She was the driving force. If it crumbled, it was because she hadn't had the ability to hold it together.
What about Jason doing a fantastic job? Is that his name, Jason? Or
yes, Jason.
Yeah,
being
Jason.
the
I can't. He was so great, and how calmly he was speaking to Kelly while she put the puzzle together. I was like, just thinking like, I need Jason in my life to like talk me off a ledge when I get really stressed in life. I just need him to be like, take a breath, Hannah, calm down. It's okay, you got this.
Well, my question is, did he take too long? Was his calm patience?
Did it freak you out? Was it like making you like get hype? Like, oh my gosh, go faster, Jason.
Yeah, I kind of got to that point that I was like, I understand that you're trying to be cool, calm, and collected. We'll talk about cool, calm, Karishma soon. But I kind of felt like it was possibly going to come at the expense of the tribe actually winning that challenge. So I was like,
I thought so too. I was like, this could bite him.
They were far behind, and then it was like a nail biter. It was a matter of moves before the other tribe had that down.
That was so scary. But you know, Jason just talking so calmly. Find the notch, there it is. Put it down.
Wow, we need like a white noise machine, but it's Jason giving directions. Roll over, find that sweet spot. Now
breathe.
Lift your leg and take a breath. Like it just giving you instructions.
And breathe. How was your day today?
Yeah, maybe that's how Noura gets kept in, game mode. Jason speaks to her like that.
Ooh, he's the Noura whisperer.
Oh, whoa! Did we just get the whole thing? Like, you know how there's the horse whisperer and the dog whisperer and all that kind of stuff? There's the Noura whisperer.
It's like
want to
his whole life
already just for comparing Noura to that of a horse and a dog. That was not my intention, but I do believe that's how it came across.
It's like his whole life has led him to this one moment. All of his training and all of his calming down other people has led to Noura.
Well, have we seen the rise of Jason? Have we seen Jason go from the bottom of his tribe to coming into a position where the tribe trusts him with
I mean,
them.
Tommy was literally holding him up. You know, he's now at a higher position.
Well, or did they put him in that position to kind of be like, you got to come through with the goods? Like, this is your time to prove yourself.
I think he super endeared himself to his tribe.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm very intrigued by Jason because what we do see of him is very like, I'm creeping up, I'm coming back, I'm creeping up. So
I know.
we'll see if he sticks it out.
Speaking of someone who's like creeping back up, making their way back, is our cool, calm Karishma, who has just been like honestly a dead man walking for 2 episodes, and she's
Okay.
still here. She's still kicking.
So I love Cool Calm Karishma. This episode was an exception.
I
She's
know.
starting to get to be that person who we know that you're, a different kind of person. And I think what we heard from Missy, as pointed and as direct as it was, she cut Karishma off. She
Mm-hmm.
laid it into her and
At
said,
tribal
"Don't
council.
feel comfortable." Yes, at tribal council. I think we saw that because Karishma is this person of saying, I'm all of these things, and that's why it's harder for me. But you could fight the same argument for every single person on every single tribe. You've got Janet, who's the older woman. You've got, all these ethnically diverse players out there
Mm-hmm.
who I'm sure in their day-to-day lives deal with different kinds of, segregation or whatever, just for, the way they look. And I'm like, if these people are able to come together, you're not doing your job, which is
Right.
finding a way to adapt and
Right.
to, we did hear her the episode before talking about trying to adapt with the group, but it's in this way that's false. We heard it from Des. Desiree was like, I don't want her to be having to change who she is, in order to be, part of the group. And I think that's where it's coming off fake and false and why people can't actually relate to her and communicate with her because she's not giving names. Vince is sitting there trying to get a name out of her last
Right.
episode. She wasn't giving a name. So she's giving people very little to work with. And then she's kind of crying about it. I'm like, you
Yeah.
can't sit there and cry when you're not using your tools to the best of your ability. Missy said, if you are the puzzle person, show us you're the puzzle person. If you're
Right.
the physical athlete, show us you're the physical athlete. If you're the Olympian, show us you're the Olympian. And it was very articulate. And honestly, I think it put a huge target on Missy's back.
It did. And back to what Missy was saying, I think Missy even said, we're all doing laps around you. Like she called out Karishma for not strategizing. And one thought I had, let me know what you think, but I am wondering if the survival elements are getting to Karishma way, like she is letting herself be affected way more than other people are letting themselves be affected. I bet she's taking naps a lot. I bet she's just like not doing the survival stuff because it's really hard to be starving and in a really uncomfortable place, but she's letting it affect her more than other people are being resilient to it.
Well, this is a perfect segue to get into that one confessional we did see from Elizabeth, who was
Yeah.
like, how dare you try to convince me to vote out Dean over Karishma? Like,
Right.
it was like a how dare you moment, the idea of keeping Karishma, which is, she's sleeping in the camp, which you express that she's probably letting it get to her emotionally, physically, all that kind of stuff, where Dean is the one that's, helping around camp. He's the one that put this shelter together. And that was the redeeming moment for me that we finally saw why Dean is being protected by his tribe. Because,
I know,
apparently...
finally, we know why. Yeah.
Absolutely. Apparently, he doesn't come through with the goods at the challenges, which, this challenge was no exception. But at camp, he makes camp life more enjoyable for people. And that's huge. Like, that's a majority of this game. A challenge might take place anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Some of them go for a ridiculous amount of time. But in terms of like a tribe challenge, they're going to go by really freaking quickly. The other, 72 hours are in camp. And if somebody in camp is going to be contributing to your camp life, I
Yeah,
mean,
making you
that's
feel
gonna
comfortable with the
that's gonna win
fire.
out.
Mhm.
And even though he was close to Chelsea, I think the fact that Elizabeth was willing to cut Chelsea before she was willing to cut Dean means that maybe he's tighter to Elizabeth than Chelsea was. And I mean, by maybe, I mean he is, because Chelsea's gone.
Wow. And so, like, what you're saying about all of that is kind of when I went into watching this episode again, here's where my dilemma was. I didn't understand why it was Chelsea, and we didn't see Karishma fighting for herself. We didn't see Dean fighting for himself. Well, because Karishma knew she was on the block.
Hmm.
Dean didn't know.
Nope.
But, so my question was, why was it Chelsea? And we got the message from Missy. She summed it up why it was Chelsea. And once I watched the episode again, I was like, oh, there it was.
Yep.
Missy says girls will still have the majority in the tribe.
Hmm.
We have the three guys as protection, and
Hmm.
Karishma is an easy vote later.
Right.
And
And
that
like,
is what we're
and
seeing as the
yeah.
argument as why it was Chelsea.
Well, she was very clear to say Karishma is a good vote later, to pretty
Hmm.
much say Karishma's not the next vote because we still need to take out a guy after this. But did you think that Chelsea would be the first woman voted out of that tribe?
No way. I thought she had great connections. We kept on seeing her getting along with everyone really well. I had no idea it was coming. And I'm wondering if this is very similar to the Molly vote out.
Yeah.
Was Chelsea just so obviously such a great social player and everybody loves her and everybody notices it and that's why they get her out?
I mean, I think it's a similar vote because of her popularity amongst the tribe members, but would they be so willing to flip on you? And I'm wondering if so we've discussed Elizabeth, we saw a lot of her in the first episode. We didn't see much of her in the second or third episode.
Mhm.
But, she was poor. Well, no, she came back from Island of Idols and nobody pointed a finger at her. And it's because she's developed those relationships.
Mhm.
Apparently, Chelsea didn't do that. No, apparently Chelsea kind of has been laying like low because,
No one
you don't want to rock
protected
the
her.
boat. And nobody did protect her. I mean, we saw a shocked face from Elaine. We saw a shocked face from Elizabeth, but they still voted her
They
out.
voted for her.
So, I mean, so much for a girls' alliance. I don't think, well, not that I don't think we're going to see it move forward, but we saw something we're very excited for, which is next week we're going to have a drop your
Your
buff
buffs.
moment.
A
And
real drop your buffs.
a real drop your buffs moment. And my whole thing is I still want to know if we're going into 2 tribes or 3 tribes.
I know.
I really want it to be 2 tribes because if we see 3 tribes again, it's just gonna. Well, how many people are left? We've got. Well, that's 4 votes. Usually, it takes place after 3 votes if it's going to go down to
Right.
15. So, but that's also within a group of 18. So this is a group of 20. So it would go down to that 17 people. Wait, no, that's 16 people left. That's a 2 tribe situation, unless they're willing to go down to an uneven split. But I doubt it.
I hope it's 2 as well. I
Sorry,
like the bigger
I-
tribe dynamic because
Me too.
I feel like in the bigger swap tribes, the sneakier players can hide. The Suri field can hide in the bigger tribes. When it's a small tribe, it's harder to hide.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Cerise, she started on a tribe with 4 people. She was one
Oh,
of
that is
4
true.
people, and she was supposed to be the vote. And then they flipped it onto was that Tina? Tina was the first person voted out of that tribe, and Cerise became the superstar that she is today. So you have the ability to really kind of make things happen in a small group, but it's easier to do so in a large group and come out looking a little more impressive because there's more people to manage.
Another thing about that tribal that I took note of that I'm starting to notice is that Elaine is pretending that she's out of the loop and she's kind of playing up the whole like, man, there's so much stuff going on and I just don't know what the plan is or something. Like even Sandra was like, dang, this girl doesn't know what's going on.
She doesn't know
And
anything. She's always here and there, whatever.
do you like my impressions? Am I nailing them?
I think they're fantastic. Keep going.
Um, I will not do my Boston Rob again. That one was awful last week.
Honestly, I didn't even know you were trying to do an impression. 'Cause you spoke about it later, and I was like, "Did she? Okay, cute."
Yeah, I tried. Okay. Oh, here, let me try my Boston Rob.
Okay, go.
She's living in Noura World, and this is Survivor World.
Okay, okay. I
If you
mean,
know,
it's probably as good as my Sandra impression from the other week, which I listened to back, and I was like, "Oh, that needs some work." Yeah.
let me hear your Sandra.
Oh, what? Oh, see this girl? She don't know
Um,
what's going on. Whoa. That's terrible. I can't even think of a good phrase.
Sandra, do you want some watermelon? Got some watermelon for you.
Yeah, I have nothing. I have no words. I could be Nora. Why is yours so small? Why is yours so small?
Nora, would you like to accept this challenge?
I feel like you're really enjoying this. Like I feel like you're really getting into this.
But the twist is that I'm really bad at it. Okay, so I talked about Elaine. I talked about Elaine. Just I think she's planting the seeds that she's not a strategic threat. She doesn't know what's going on, and I think that is awesome. Good job, Elaine. Keep that up.
So okay, do we genuinely think that she doesn't know what's happening? Because even though we did see that the conversation went through her a lot, was she calling the shots at all?
I think that she was a part of it, and I think that she is like secretly someone who has a lot of weight in that tribe and in that alliance.
Interesting. We saw nothing from Tom, so we can only assume
Right.
that Tom has nothing to do with anything on that tribe. Um, but Elaine is the reason Dean didn't go home.
You're right. Yeah. And once again, we saw Elizabeth as the Mecca. We saw Elizabeth in all these conversations. So,
Yeah.
and we saw
Maybe
Missy
it
kind of
is.
calling. Hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe it really is Elizabeth and Elaine that are their numbers, but they're the ones that decide where the vote goes versus the people calling the shots. So you got people like Missy and Aaron who are more of
Right.
the people putting the move out there. You've
Hmm.
got Elizabeth and Elaine being the ones being like, well, what is the move that we're like comfortable with? And then
Hmm.
you've got people like Karishma who are just sitting there going, I'll vote as long as it's not me.
Yes. And I want to mention again, along those lines, what you brought up earlier, how Elizabeth did a great move by coming up to Missy, I believe, and saying, yeah, Elaine doesn't want to vote Dean. When we heard
That was
Elizabeth.
Aaron.
Oh, sorry. We heard Elizabeth say that she doesn't want Dean, but she was putting that on someone else. Like
Correct.
that's how you do it. Good job, Elizabeth.
Absolutely, yes. And it means that she doesn't have to give her cards over, and she can just say, "We don't have the numbers. We need to find a new plan."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about one other thing before we sign off, and that is something we kind of glazed over at the beginning because we had to jump right into Noura World.
Yes,
But my man Jamal found an idol today. Woo,
he
Jamal!
did. And I will admit, when he did find it, my eyes rolled this way and all the way back.
Stop
I was like,
it.
"Ugh."
Jamal is
I mean,
a precious part of this cast, and he is lovely in every way. And Jamal has gone through so much in his life, Dion. Did you know that he was in a rough relationship and he didn't treat himself with grace? And
is that what he said?
yeah,
I
whole
completely don't know because I completely blocked that out, apparently.
I cannot believe how much footage we had of him talking about, oh, I've learned how to take things slowly. I'm being present. I'm connected. You would not believe. I need to go back and find out how long we heard from Jamal about how much he's learned from this bad relationship. And oh my gosh, it felt like he was just taking like just words out of his butt. Like he was just like, just talk, 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 talk. And I found an idol. And look how pretty this idol is. And it was like the grossest looking idol I've ever seen.
It's a piece of rope with some shells attached to it.
Yeah, so I think they're purposely trying to make them look fake, right? Like that was
I think so.
Yeah.
I do. I'm like,
So
they're not
anyways.
these glamorous things, and he's just doing his thing. He's living his life, and you know what? I give him a lot of slack, but kudos to him. He has been, why would you leave somebody at camp by themselves? You know, kudos to him for doing that, because if they leave you by yourself, you deserve to find an idol.
And like how I have viewed him as a hero, you have viewed him as a villain, and at the end of this whole segment, they ended with a villainous laugh from Jamal. It was like ha 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 ha. Like
I told you.
I know it was a hero edit with the villain laugh. So the jury's still out on where Jamal lays with the hero or villain.
All right. Well, I mean, I didn't get to my drop your buff moment technically, but I do think that Missy's approach at Tribal Council has to be my drop your buff moment, because I literally stopped. And I have to say, she came out guns a-blazing, swinging, and that did have me stop in my tracks and just go, wow, did that just happen? So I got to go ahead and call that my drop your buff moment.
It's like she knew that Chelsea was going home, but she needed Karishma to feel some whiplash. She needed Karishma to get her act together. And when we see scenes from next week, we see that Karishma is ready to turn on Lyro.
And it's this whole thing of like, Karishma has no loyalties, and her tribe sees that. And I'm wondering if with the performance that we saw from Missy today, if she ends up on a tribe, whether they're in the numbers or not, is she going to be the first target from the other tribe? Because
did she just burn her bridge with Karishma?
Did she burn her bridge with Karishma? Did she burn her bridge amongst her tribe in trying to lay low? Because she is very well spoken. When she's the person to kind of meet people, she's not that kind of warm, fun, upbeat. You know, someone like Elizabeth can really pull that off. Someone like Lauren can really pull that off. But if you're meeting a strong group of people after having had a challenge where, you know, you performed quite, strong, I see her having a really tough time moving forward at a swap.
Yes. So along with that, at the end of the day, is this a good move getting Chelsea out right now?
No.
I agree. I just do not feel like this was right at all.
I think that they really should have gotten rid of Dean. I think that would have been a better move for them in terms. I think that Chelsea was good. I think that she was women strong. I know that she had a tight alliance of Dean, but hey, Missy's got Aaron, and Elizabeth's apparently got Dean. Like, it's, everybody's got someone outside of their alliance. That's how you play the game. You need to have a plan B until you get to plan Z. So, it's that whole thing of people get intimidated by people's second option. They just weren't good at hiding it. And, we heard from Chelsea herself, I feel comfortable moving through this game having the support of Dean. She didn't say having the support of the women that I'm working with, but she said especially working with Dean. Did she do that to herself? Was she her own, the doing of her own demise? Like, I'm really disappointed. I really wanted to see more of Chelsea, and I don't know. We just didn't get that.
She was our token super fan this season.
She was
our girl super fan. We usually get the guy nerds, and we finally had our girl nerd.
Yep. And she did all the good things for the first 4 episodes, but somebody else is going to have to fill that position. So I can't wait to see who it's going to be.
Well, I'm still holding out hope for my girl Lauren. She's got to pull through.
Lauren, I'm sad that we didn't see more of Janet this episode.
Oh, I know.
Still rooting for Janet. Still trying to get as much of her in the season. I need to see her at the individual portion of this game, because I think that's when she's really going to thrive.
I agree. I cannot wait. So when we're looking forward to next week for the tribe swap, what kind of things are you looking forward to? You said you wanted to tribe swap, but is there anything else that you're looking forward to? I know for me, I am looking forward to someone not getting swap screwed. I don't know how that will not happen, but I just hate it when it's just the classic majority alliance from the previous tribe votes out someone.
Well,
I love it when there's a mix-up.
I was going to say, we saw a clip from a very famous tribe swap where there was a screw for Amber when she was the only person to end up in a tribe of people that she wasn't previously with in All Stars. They went from 2 tribes. They all literally just switched colors of their buffs, but Amber stayed on the tribe that she was with. And that's when Boston Rob made that deal with Lex.
I'll do it. I can. Here, I'll take over from here. Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Here we go. Boston Rob says, correct me if I'm wrong. If you can protect her, I'll protect you. Did I get that right?
I think that was pretty good. That was pretty good. You had the whole...
You can keep her safe. I'll keep you're safe. If you can. If you can. I love that part.
I need to tell all the listeners that if you're listening to this, you need to see the face that Hannah makes when she's speaking out the side of her face, tucked into the corner of her mouth. It's beautiful. Very articulate. I love it.
I hope I'm making all my Boston family proud, which I'm not. So that's fine.
All right. Well, I mean, this was an interesting episode. I would say the episode as a whole wasn't my favorite, but the tribal council portion of this was kind of insane. And even the pre-tribal council, we saw a lot of conversation at camp about which way the vote was going to go. Sometimes we get none and we go straight to tribal council. So I was intrigued by that because we saw multiple names. We saw a lot of strategy from that tribe. But what we saw ultimately was they all get along far too well for their own good, that they've set themselves up where they possibly can't see it coming, and a tribe swap might just be what they're in need of.
Yeah, I cannot wait to listen to interviews with Chelsea, her exit interviews, or read some articles. I know that the Hollywood Reporter has some exit interviews with Chelsea. I hope that she reveals more information about what was going on with that vote and where she went wrong. All right, is there anything else to talk about, Djon?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good on episode 4 of Survivor Island of Idols.
I hope that we can get someone else to join us next episode for the swap. I think that
we can get a switch guest, a tribe swap guest. Let's do it. I'm excited.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it all up. Remember to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Djon, do you remember the name of our podcast that we're recording right now?
Yes, it's called Drop Your Buffs. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, go to Drop Your Buffs Pod. Or you can follow Hannah on Twitter at Hannah Gilia, spelled Gilia. Or you can follow myself at Djon Alexander, spelled Djon Alexander. You can follow us both on Instagram, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube at Drop Your Buffs. Drop Your Buffs. Chat with Djon and Hannah.
Survivor Chat
with Djon and Hannah. I was so close.
I'm very proud of you. That was great.
Thank you. I practiced for 5 minutes before we recorded this.
Love it. Okay, if you have any feedback for us, tweet us, YouTube comment us.
Yes.
Instagram DM us. I don't care.
Yeah, and if you have any more information about how I can introduce Hannah, please let me know. DM me. Give me that information. I need some more introductions for Hannah.
No, I'm not that awesome. I think we have enough.
No, there's more. I'm sure there is more. I'm sure you won a raffle in 3rd grade. I'm sure you did.
All right. Well, signing off, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Till the next Survivor episode. Bye.
Bye.
Everybody, drop your buffs. Drop your buffs. Everybody, drop your buffs.
Drop your buffs.
Everybody, drop your buffs.